So this is September 14th, our Executive Leadership Council meeting. Welcome, everyone. Shelley's traveling, John's away. And Linda, do you want to do some resonance for us before we begin?
It's my day.
Hey.
Sure.
You're always welcome to say no, always.
It feels good to say yes.
Perfect.
So here we are. There's 4 of us. And let's breathe a moment together, just closing our eyes and holding Shelley and John right here in our circle with us. Holding good of the whole. And feeling ourselves being held by the field. And co-creating with us as we are influencing the field. So we take this moment of appreciation and gratitude and joy that we're dancing in this field together. Opening to surprises and the mystery of how we connect and what unfolds. Let's breathe in and remembering the love that guides us through everything that we do. Feeling that love. Sensing. Knowing. And as our hearts connect here, we are ready to open this call with abundance of love and joy and openness. And so it is in this moment.
And so it is. Let us do a brief check-in, shall we? And I keep putting my book on top of my keyboard. I apologize if it makes noise. So let's do a brief check-in. Who wants to start? A lot has happened since last Monday. And I wasn't even on the Monday call, and it's not posted, so I couldn't even watch the recording. So I have no idea what you guys did without me last Monday, but thank you for doing what you did, because I was full on. So
I would love to open. The first thing I want to say is thank you, Julie. I just really want to thank you and Shelley for the behind the scenes hard work of pulling people together and getting the mayor there and everything that you did for the caravan to stop on Wednesday. And it felt like a really busy week for us. We were just holding everything together here while you were really boots on the ground doing the hard work. So I think it turned out exquisite. What Hubcast did in the evening was so beautiful to pull it together. I was so proud of it. So I just want to thank you. And that's really like before my check-in. I've been wanting to say that all week. It's been, what's today? Today's Monday. Oh my gosh, it's even been a full week. But from the behind the scenes, doing the having the connection field open all day, that was quite an experience. And I felt at times like, of course I was focusing on what was going on, but I felt like I was pulling the levers like from Wizard of Oz. It's like this person wants to come in and this person's got to, let that person out. I can't recognize that one. And oh, it's got to be spotlighted. And then so it was fun. It took concentration to really do that all day long. And I did have some breaks. Thank you, Glenn. But all in all, it was an amazingly full, delicious day. And really appreciated it. And then I had Thursday to kind of breathe And then Friday, I was up at 4 in the morning to get ready to be in Chicago. And that was an all-day event as well. So I felt pretty fulfilled after last week, Wednesday and Friday. And I did bring in the connection field during the interview for Conscious Chicagoland. Because if we're thinking of the whole and the good of the whole, there are many groups. This is what we talked about in the residence call this morning. There are so many groups that are doing good things. And I feel like good of the whole wants to acknowledge all of them. And so, Conscious Chicagoland is being reignited, which is also doing what Barbara Marx Hubbard wanted us to do, is track and connect and see what's working, what's doing good in the world, and acknowledge it. So we were able to give new awards that Barbara's son signed. So Conscious Chicagoland makes these beautiful certificate awards for different people in the various 12 sectors of the wheel to acknowledge them. And so we were able to give one to I Grow Chicago and to Marty Casey for their work on ungunning. And I miraculously, everything's a miracle, met this young woman who was healed through Marty's work on this intimate little 12 people Zoom call after she was on Unity Earth Week. And this young woman was so changed by Marty's work that she hung up and 3 hours later wrote this song. And the song has now been professionally done in a studio. She sang it that night on Friday. She posted it. It was posted on SoundCloud. And now she's traveling with the Caravan of Unity team. She hosted them at her house when they were in Chicago. Now she just hopped on in the car and she's heading east with them. And I feel like another person, like I have another spiritual granddaughter. And this is what excites me, is the connection, truly the connection field that we're carrying beyond what Good of the Whole has on their Zoom all day long. We're taking it out and making larger connections. And I'm excited about that. I love the people that we're meeting and then to bring them back into the connection field. So I love what you're saying about bringing Marty in. I think it'd be fabulous. And she would be so willing. So willing. So that's my check-in. I'm here, I'm present, I'm good, I'm healthy, thank you God, and I'm complete.
Well, I'll just second everything you said, Linda, about Julie. I mean, Julie, you were awesome. Your talk from the podium was outstanding. You really carry a great presence and making all that just work. It was wonderful to see us give a donation to the group, and that was just really well done. It's like, wow, look at us. What great folks we have on this crazy team. I know when I stepped in after you, I guess, Linda, to host that first person that I hosted. Who was that I hosted? When you took off and transferred it over to me. A little tricky thing came up in that we lost our Facebook connection, and so I had to reinitialize on Facebook for her. And I don't know why it disappeared, but it did. And so it was kind of good that I was there, because I knew how to do that. So I'm just saying the universe took care of us. What was that? Soul of Many Fires or something that she was doing, whoever that was. Anyway, that was a really fun experience doing doing the hosting and connecting. And like you said, Linda, it kind of took concentration. I think I only dumped one group off that I hit stop video instead of spotlight, and that was Julie during the dance party. So you guys, I cut your video off one time. It's just because I just hit the wrong thing with my cursor, and you were gone. But you were back in pretty quick, so it didn't wasn't too impactful there, I don't think. But what fun day, and we had fun in the dance party too. Wasn't that cool to moving this? So I kind of got the idea of moving the spotlight around and shifting all that. That was a blast, and wow, and what a long day it was for you guys. I mean, I jumped in at 10 o'clock my time, which was what, 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock your time, I think, when I stepped in, and then or maybe it was 3. It was 4. Maybe it was 4. But nonetheless, then I was on till, I don't know, 8 or 9. It seemed like it was late for you when you guys went home and had a wonderful dinner cooked for you. But boy, what a long day. So anyway, it was really, really excellent work all around. And we had a good time doing all that. And then, like I say, Thursday was like, I don't know, you must have just crashed on Thursday, Julie. I can't imagine you even moving hardly. It's like, man, I was tired on Thursday just from what I did. And I didn't do that much. It's like, I was just, so anyway, that was all good. And then, what else is going on? My son was just up in Portland for a wedding this last weekend. And I know that's where Shelley is, right? She's outside of Portland. So
she's now in the air on her way to Florida, but over the weekend she was in Boulder. She was here Wednesday, then Boulder, then Florida today. So they would have passed in the night.
So man, the air quality in Portland is awful. I mean, it's like 750 on the particulate scale, and hazardous is 300. I mean, so anyway, my son was up there for a wedding. He's back in Irvine right now. His lungs hurt. I mean, all the air purifiers are sold out in every store, online, Amazon. It's like the mask situation with air purifiers now. People trying to clean the air in their homes so they can breathe. So we've got a huge shortage of that equipment that people need. And so it's good that Shelley's out of there and off to Florida where she'll be able to breathe. It's awful. And what else? I've got to scat out of here at 12 my time, which is what, 6 your time, I guess, when we in this meeting or before. So I've got a meeting on my Ohana Legacy Foundation with a contractor and one of my team members to talk about what we're doing with that, and continuing to have our our Tuesday meetings at every week. So I don't know, we're just going along. Barbara's running the show from from everywhere that she is. So she's got Chicagoland juiced up again, and now she's just got all kinds of irons in the fire here. So it's all good. So I think I'm complete. I don't ramble along anymore. It's like, okay, let's go home and get to work. Mm-hmm. Go, Andrea.
Thank you, Glenn. Yeah, I do want to say that Wednesday was amazing to witness, and thank you for reminding me, Linda. I wanted to say this to you, Julie, like bringing in the mayor, that was so unexpected on my end. That was very cool. And yeah, it was just, it was, for me, I felt like I learned a lot more. I feel like this past month, though we have gotten some really tangible things accomplished, it's been so much about observing and learning, and and listening and assessing, and then learning and listening some more and assessing and trying to synthesize all the information that's coming in. And it did, you know, I felt this sense of excitement and a clear vision of your vision, of the good of the whole's vision, of the Executive Leadership Council's vision, and the capacity of good in the whole, of the whole, to connect. And I've been saying this word a lot with Julie, and she hasn't stopped me. So the capacity for community, collective activism and sacred activism and messaging for the good of the whole, as an organism, and as a way of life. So that inspiration is strong. I'm doing well. I'm in Baltimore right now. My nephew turned 18, so I wanted to just be here, and I haven't had the luxury of being only a 3-hour drive from my family in a really long time. So in my new car, I cruised on up the street and I'm still here. Things are getting done. I know that a lot's been going on, and then the Caravan of Unity, and then we have another event coming up, but policies are being written, surveys are being written at some point this week and into the next. I will be asking or requesting, if people have time, to really kind of look over some of these documents. So, have your input, have your languaging. A lot of them are kind of legal sounding documents, but I also think that we can like balance it out with appropriate languaging and mission driven languaging. So that's really exciting. Linda, you also mentioned, I can't remember exactly the words that you mentioned, but it was along the lines of really kind of keeping track of the work, kind of measuring. I can't remember the word, it's like on the tip of my tongue, but a lot of the work that is being accomplished right now, kind of behind the scenes, is so we can really track and assess and make our decisions both from our heart and our minds, and also from what's the data saying, like how's the community asking to be served, and how are they asking to serve in return. So that's really exciting to me. Linda, I don't know, I told Julie we were meeting today, and then I realized we're meeting tomorrow, so I'm excited to meet with you tomorrow. And yeah, that's how I am. I'm also like just ready to be boots on the ground, and I'm kind of was ready from the beginning, but I'm starting to understand how important the learning and the listening and assessing, and the more learning and listening and assessing was really important as a foundation for the work ahead, which I'm excited about. So I'm complete.
Thank you all. Yeah, I want to answer and respond to a lot of everything that you've all said. So I'll give my brief check-in, and then I'll follow up on a few of those threads because I think they're important. Yes, I am. I was tired, Glenn. I was so tired Thursday. Oh my gosh. Turn off my dinger. Yeah, and thank you for acknowledging my words from the stage, Glenn. I was supposed to deliver a keynote and literally had to use my time to tie the threads together for the day, like to really make it a coherent story. And so I felt like that was my primary job. And, Ben Buller really wanted me to deliver a keynote, but we wanted this day to be coherent, because the other days had been just like, go here, go there, go here are these people that, and there was no coherent thread that pulled it through. And I just really felt that compelling drive to do our best to tell the story. So so that's what we did. And I've got a lot of feedback from that it did feel coherent. I hope you guys, if you have any feedback for that too. The only, I have a one, I don't know if it's a regret, but I don't know if it would be a regret, but a make note to self or a constructive piece from the day where, it goes with vetting volunteers, vetting teachers, vetting speakers. So in the morning, the story about the Pawnee Seed, not restoration program, the Pawnee Seed, see, now I can't even remember the other name.
Preservation.
P, not R, preservation project. The story is amazing. What they do is amazing. What they've done is amazing. And they need a marketing team to put together some really amazing videos that share the story, because they just are not public speakers. And so it was so painful. All of a sudden we're out at Row and I'm listening to this, and then I'm going, oh my gosh, we can't just give them 20 minutes tonight and let them talk about, like, how will they even do that? I think if I say that, I didn't even know how they were going to do that, because they just can't tell the story with pizzazz and energy that makes people engaged, and the story needs to be told. So we shifted it at the last minute of how do I engage them? And even the production crew, which was fascinating. The production team, in the ear, when I asked the very first question, they both just kind of looked at each other and paused, and then somebody started talking really slow and monotone and quiet. And the production team was like, oh no, so I wish we would have been able to pre-record something really dynamic to tell that story. And I feel like I didn't have the opportunity to tell their story well enough. That is a regret. I really wanted to showcase the Pawnee Seed Preservation Project more. So that was that. And so hopefully that story was a little coherent. I don't know what the experience, I haven't got to that part of the recording yet to watch it. I'm only halfway through the night. I was watching it from the beginning to the middle and I had to stop. So that was that. And I was so super tired, but the show must go on, right? So my week has continued to be full. My weekend was not full, and I'll tell you in a second what I did this weekend, because I told Andrea and I thought it was so fun. So out of your shares, Saturday, I'll just say this, Saturday, Jude Curvan asked me to come into a planning meeting with her Unity Community Whole World View. And again, it was so affirming to the global transition team and getting that going and doing that transformational leadership piece, which I'm just on fire about still. So I really am looking forward to switching my energy and being able to create a program that will help Good of the Whole be regenerative in itself. And so I'm going to share two things with you today, but out of your shares, one question was, should it be all day long? I'm wondering about Wednesday. We don't have to spend but a minute here. After having the Wednesday night broadcast, which was the main stage broadcast, was it good to have it all day long live on the connection field? It's just a question. And if you have a strong opinion, one way or the other, I'd love to have that feedback. I'll just pause if anybody does.
I agree that the PowerPoint and the storytelling was pretty snoozy. And I was trying to pay attention, but they just weren't delivering.
Yeah.
But what was amazing is that knowing that sort of behind the scenes and seeing what Unity Earth team put together in the evening was such a beautiful transition, and that they showed the video and Shelley was telling the story. I don't know if you got to that part.
No, but I created that part. So I remember I watched it live, but I haven't watched it on the video yet. But
Okay.
that was effective watching.
Yeah, I thought it was so much better. In fact, it took me by surprise, because it's like, who knew what was going to happen in the evening? But the Hubcast is a pretty awesome team, and they really pulled it together. And the fact that you honored them and you were explaining it. But I think, you know, when you say, I wish it had been, the story's so important and it should have been told more. So that was just one day. We have now this material, and we have the connection to build on the story, and it can go further than just the corn in Nebraska. You know, there's a corn story out there. There's a GMO story out there. There's the whole sacredness of corn and its usefulness and how it's being destroyed. That's one of the systems that's destructive. So I think there's great potential in the future of building on that story, and how it's growing where it needs to grow. So I just wanted to say that. That was my input as far as, should it be all day long? You know, and I thought, isn't it interesting that the connection field was the only place where it could be all day long, live like that, because we had the connection field and we were able to use, you know, your phone and Shelley's phone and to see the behind the scenes of what was happening. Because nobody else, unless they came into the connection field, could see that. So as far as the big Caravan of Unity presentation for the day, they saw that 2-hour program where it was already polished. So when we were in Chicago, I kept thinking, who's going to see this? Is this going on right now? Who's watching it live? And it's like, they don't have a connection field to tap their people into being able to see the behind the scenes the way that we did. So we could extra appreciate the evening, if that makes sense. That's my feedback.
Awesome. Thanks.
And I didn't jump into it until the afternoon, so I don't have a connection at all to the front end of it. The back end of it, I thought was very interesting in terms of the lead-in program. I thought was good, and then when you took it over, Julie, and it started rocking with the I guess the hub presentation, and the party afterwards was pretty fun too. It strikes me that we could make chunks of time like that available to Chicagoland, or as a place, and maybe it could be a weekly thing, could be a monthly thing, a quarterly thing. I don't know. We could strategize perhaps how we could open our connection field to these other affiliates to have their either a whole day, 4 hours, 6 hours, you know, and maybe we moderate kind of like we did here, and we have these special events.
That was my second question. Andrea, I saw you reaching. Sorry, pardon me. My second question was, should we have it all day? Should it have been all day? And then, is it time to invite other organizations, to host an hour a week on the connection field, a Unity Earth hour? Like you just said, the affiliates, Conscious Chicagoland has an hour every week on the connect, you know, so that, like, to me would be an interesting twist on our programming is to start inviting other organizations, other partnering organizations to be hosting an hour, which could be really cool. Like inviting Chief Phil Lane to come in and do a regular hour every week, and he'd invite his people in. So to continue thinking like that, I just want us to continue exploring that. I think it could be a really interesting new approach for us in the connection field. And then we're not hosting every hour, and we're not volunteer depleted. We are adding other volunteers that are outside of our walls. So yeah, so that was the other thing. Andrea, did you want to add anything before I jump into my other two little pieces?
I would quickly. I started in the connection field early that day, and then there was a chunk of time where I had to leave the connection field, and then of course I joined back in kind of midday, and then had to leave again, then joined in for the 3 hours. So a part of me was like, oh, I don't want to leave the connection field because it's such an important day, but I have things I have to do. So it was like, it kind of created this little like, oh, I'm going to miss something. Even though of course I did, but I was also there for the 3 hour programming, which did encompass a lot of the day. So I don't really have an opinion either way, except for I wasn't able to be there the whole day. But when I was there, I really enjoyed it. Linda, yes, the corn, I think that's great material that can be an interesting thread held by the good of the whole, because corn is, some of the teachings I've received from the Lakota is when you look at corn that's indigenous corn, that's non-GMO'd corn, it spirals like our DNA. And some of the teachings is it's a reflection of our DNA. So yes, it's good of the whole corn, that's foundational. And your other question, just affirming, I think that could be a really interesting way of managing the connection field with bringing in programming that isn't so dependent on mentoring stewards and volunteers. And it goes with the conversation that we had earlier about how can the connection field be held in a way that also creates time and space for the structure of the organization to do all that it envisions and all that it wants to accomplish. So very quickly, I hope that was coherent. That's my share.
Thank you.
You're on mute.
I clicked mute when Andrea, like I was muting Andrea or something. Sorry. I have to tell you what I did fun over the weekend, and then I'll go into these other two pieces. So Kevin invited me to turn my phone and my computer off, and it was really difficult because I was working on the digest till late Friday night, and he's like, okay, just turn it off. But yesterday, after we went for a really long walk, Kevin reserved the motorized scooters and surprised me. And we went over to, Linda and Glenn at the lake. You should see, we have this whole new place there with all kinds of water toys and fun things and axe throwing right across by the marina. And he has motorized scooters. So Kevin rented the motorized scooters, and we drove all the way around the lake on the trails on the motorized scooters. And it was so much fun. So, and it was a gorgeous day. So anyway, I got to play a little bit yesterday. I want to show you something, screen share, that I've already shared with Andrea. And then I want us to talk about fundraising a little bit today too, but I want to show you and see how this feels to you. And perhaps I can show and tell, and then we could take turns if you want to screen share for anybody else to pop it up so you could see it. But I'm going to screen share. Whoops, I'm going to open it first. It's in the chat. Don't go to the chat yet, guys. Oh, that link doesn't want to go for me. Here it goes. Now it's opening. Okay. Screen share while it opens. It's something new. A surprise. This is a Trello board. You've seen Andrea working in Trello, inviting us into Trello, and you've all been in there playing. Last week, when Andrea and I were talking on Friday, it became, well, actually, I should show you this other board. I don't know how to get to it. Oh, I'm not logged in.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so here's Sunday programs. And you can click on what's Sunday, what's next, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's see. Oh, I got to scroll this way. It's through Saturday, and so I haven't got the Thursday. Andrea and I were working and I just put the Sunday, Monday, oh, look at this. I put Wednesdays on Tuesdays. I'll move it. But we just put that there to draw attention to the day more because these were so small. So we'll put a little heading and branding over here, and we'll do that for all the days. But you can click on it for a description. So here's Linda and mine. I'm just going to show you because I'm trying to figure out how to get our pictures so it's not activity. I wonder if we'll be able to delete this. But so this is the activity, and then these little tiny ones. I don't know how to do it so that you could have a slideshow for our pictures or whatever, but here's our description, here's our bios, Linda, and then we'll figure out how to get our links up for all of our different hosts for the different hours, which that's one thing we have to work on. Linda, I do not have all the bios on, and I invited you to the team. I do not have the bios on all of them, just yours and mine, and maybe 2 other people who had them on the website that Jess had put on. But we could add the bios, we could do the photos, and then this is going to be a lot more manageable than that, how we had it on the website. So instead of having an actual calendar that you'd go to the calendar and click on something, we have this. So I want to open it up to you. And you're all welcome to open it up and share screen, and we could take turns if you want to play with it. The link is in the chat. And I just want to, how does it feel? Is it user friendly? Does it achieve what we want for a calendar? The thing about having these things at the same time of the day, it's going to look like it's the same programming with the fire and Julie's every morning. Darn it. But they got to scroll down to get that. So anyone, speak up, tell me what you think. And if somebody else wants to screen share and hop on it and play with it for a minute and give us your feedback, feel free. So anyone.
So we can put this on our website or on our Facebook page, and people can get to it, or do we put the link to the Trello on the Facebook?
We would put, this is an open public page, so we would put the link to this Trello, just like this. It'd be a link to our calendar. So it says Connection Field Calendar right here. And it would be a link, and anybody could click on it, and we would keep this Trello board updated, and then we won't have a calendar.
Is it pretty easy to update?
Yeah, I've learned, I did this. Well, Andrea, do you want me to tell you exactly how long this took me to do?
Yeah.
After Heart Res and before I met with Andrea, I did this whole calendar. So that would have been, I started at 11 a.m. and then, well, I stopped at 1 to go get something to eat so I could meet with Andrea at 2. So this took me 2 hours.
Wow, you're a wizard.
Does anybody want to play with it? What, Linda? Oh, Andrea, sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, just to preface it, we were trying to figure out how we could have a calendar that was easily changeable, that was live, that also where we didn't have to get another, plug-in or another integration like calendarize it. And then Julie found that another organization was using it as a calendar. So I think it's brilliant.
Sherry Herndon invited me to be a speaker on her convergence room, her up convergence for Tuesday. And she sent me her Trello board, and it was so well done. It was incredibly well done. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if you could do all this in the Trello board, like I could see it. So instead of it being our projects or our task list or our who's doing what, it was like, to me, I like, because it's visual. I like that we're leading with the images. I got to figure out how to let go of this activity. So you won't see this. I don't know if I have to go in there individually, but we'll figure that out. We need to have a one description for the Global Heart Resonance instead of changing it every week. If we want to change it, we could like add a little, here's this week's over. I should do this over here in the special events and announcements. We could do this week's Heart Res or something like that. But yeah, the obnoxious part is this, like seeing this activity. So I'm going to make sure we can get rid of that. I'm sure there's a way to do it.
What are these lines right next to the word activity? Does that say edit? Can you delete?
Well, I can't do it here. Let
Oh,
me
you're sharing.
see.
Oh.
I'll open mine. Yeah, because I'm now logged in as a public user. I'm not logged in as Julie right now. But I'll open my computer and see.
So anyone can go see it, but they can't get into it. Only we can get into the calendar to edit.
Right, exactly. Anyone can see it, only us. See, and I hid the details on our Wednesday one. And look, we open that back up. So this is like, why would somebody see that? Right now, I have the details hidden. And here in the public view, Andrea, it's open. So this is a question Andrea and I have to work on. But at least you can see the description, the bios. Like, I think this is exciting, and it doesn't have to be all those pages that was so dysfunctional on the website, having to go to every day. So yeah, does anybody want to play with it, or any other comments, or should we just let us fix it and then we'll come back to it again? Does this feel good for a connection field calendar? I know we need to run it by Shelley and the connection field team Friday, but what do you think?
I would not know how to get that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, those graphics and pictures that you have.
Yeah.
You're grabbing them from the Good of the Whole website, I'm assuming, and then putting them in here.
I made them. I'm gonna go fix the Tuesday and move it to Wednesday right now. I'm gonna show you how easy this is. I made them. I made those graphics.
Yeah. But then for all of the.
But the fire ceremony and the others, you pulled those from someplace, or did you?
Yeah, I grabbed those from the website right now, which we probably need a better fire image. I just moved to Wednesday, see? So it's pretty user friendly. So, you know, Linda, as you are the community person, I see you taking a bigger role in working with the mentoring stewards in their capacity here. And I know you're going to be talking to Linda about that. And so this is user friendly. A volunteer could jump in and do this.
I would like to add something really quickly, Julie. Yes, I agree. And, you know, part of the inner workings of what's happening right now is a place that will be storing any and all criteria that will be needed for making this calendar beautiful. And also criteria so volunteers can have freedoms to help with the calendar, but using Good of the Whole specific images and font sizes, you know, really clearing up so this can be passed on to a volunteer very easily and effectively. So I think that also might answer your question, Linda. Hopefully.
Do you want to add anything to your report, Andrea, on the connection field? While I'll just leave this up. If you noticed, I just changed this and it popped up automatically, which was cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to do Thursday while you guys are sitting here. Do you want to add anything, Andrea?
As far as decisions around how the connection field is moving forward.
Yeah, what you're in the middle of really doing a big assessment piece. If you want to
Yes.
give any highlights from your process, if there's anything you want to report on today before we officially give more of a report later.
Yes, yes. So, Linda, you and I will be speaking tomorrow. So I know that we can go kind of deeper into this. And a few weeks ago, I had asked everybody to kind of find themselves within the 13 functions. And part of that piece, this doesn't really so much apply to you, Glenn, was really for me to understand the capacity that we are holding for current capacity for the connection field. As we all know, Shelley does want to hand over large pieces of the connection field for somebody else to manage. The question has been thus far, who is that person? Who are those people? And how can we utilize the volunteers and the mentoring stewards that we have currently to grow that capacity? So that was part of the reason why I had asked for you all to do that, so I could get clear. That being said, we still need to, as I'm assessing kind of our internal capacity for managing the good of the whole as an initiative, I mean, managing the connection field as an initiative of good of the whole, actions have been set in place where I am developing surveys so we can clearly assess our community, the connection field community, more specifically, and volunteer mentoring stewards' interest, their skill sets, their availability, what they need to feel committed, what we need, and everything in between. So that's what's kind of happening behind the scenes. And then hopefully within this next week, week and a half, launching that assessment or those surveys out into the community. So then we can get them back and really assess what our capacity is and capability as far as internal and external and the communications between the two to hold the connection field in its current capacity, and sustain it and grow it. So that's kind of where we stand on that, because Shelley does not want to be holding it as intensely as she has been. There is me, but Julie and I have talked about just, well, I kind of decided to move forward, not so much with me out of the equation, but until we get this fundraiser up and going, we don't really have the awareness of keeping me on past these 3 months. So I felt that keeping me out of the equation of supporting the management of the connection field was not a viable direction to go, because it would only fill a need for a very short amount of time, and then we would be in the same position. So I'm really looking at the larger organizational structure and how we can move forward with the connection field with Shelley stepping down from so many responsibilities, really looking with you, Linda, and John on what we can hold, what we want to hold, and getting those surveys out and getting the data back so we can really move forward on the connection field in a way that we also can use this time, especially while I'm here the next 2 months, to get more systems in place and really focus on the fundraising. So that's where we are.
I have a question.
Yes.
These surveys, is this just for the leadership council? Is it just us, or?
No, these are surveys for the community. So we can assess. One, the connection field has been going on for, when did it start? What was the official start day?
It was like the end of March or?
Mark,
end.
can you open that? I'm going to open that. We need to mark that down. I'm going to open the.
I think it was like the last week of March, because I started my Japamala on April 1st, and we were just going for maybe a week.
Yeah, if we have the exact date, that would be awesome for my survey, because I
Yeah,
wanted to
think
highlight when we started.
it needs to be marked in history. I think we need to really mark that in history and say that the
I don't
beginning.
even have it on my calendar.
The official start date was March 23rd.
Great.
The official
thank you.
inception date was March 9th, and we pulled it together in 2 weeks.
Wow.
There you have it.
Thank
But
you.
we began with the Resonance Lounge March 23rd.
Wow.
And
Okay.
if you noticed, I just finished all those little days at the top of the calendar and special announce. That's how it, so there you go. Now we have our branding there.
Great.
That was easy.
So yeah, so that's there, and then we'll keep playing and adding, and we'll have to do the bios and the links now and answer that other question. So other questions for Andrea before I am going to talk, we're going to jump into fundraising, and without all of us here, it might be a little difficult, but I wanted to bring in fundraising because that's what Andrea had said is it's really important for our sustainability that Andrea stays systems focused. Whole systems. We're all about creating whole systems health, right? And here we are. We need to start at home. So we're all about whole systems and living for the good of the whole and expanding the whole worldview, but we got to come home to our own whole system. So yeah. Any other questions about then the connection field and Andrea's surveys? And we're really going to go to the community to ask what their interests, needs, skills, abilities, time. Who do we have? Glenn, you look deep in thought.
Yeah. So I'm wondering about the notion of having more either a combination of both suggested donation based and or tuition based hours or blocks of time that people can teach or be coaches in or whatever, or bring their groups. I mean, I've got a friend here on the island, Natalie, who is very skilled in the closed head injury world, and she has a support group, and she's building a new structure around supporting people in being more of who they are. And I had the thought, well, that could be something that perhaps could be offered on the connection field. That's a fee-based or donation-based, and then we do again back to that split of we take maybe 50%, they take 50%, and we create more revenue-based programming. I guess I might call it.
See, Andrea and I both going.
Yeah.
I know, it's like
we are working on it. Like
having that funnel, having that funnel of where what's the languaging of our invite for someone like her to come to whoever is going to be the gatekeeper for who gets to decide who gets to offer courses and take that on and put them in and give them a slot basically for them to bring their groups to and expand out into our community as well. So we're kind of a marketing arm with them for, along with their community and our community blending and generating revenue for everybody.
I think you're going to love what's coming.
Great.
Andrea and I are working on the platform Kajabi. And a lot of people just teach their courses on Kajabi. Kajabi is real similar to Infusionsoft in a lot of ways, but way more user-friendly and more economical and affordable. So we will have a Mentoring Stewards portal on this new website that literally they'll click in and there'll be those membership levels like you're talking about, that the Mentoring Stewards get these things for free, but if you want to upgrade to this, you can get these things. We'll be able to teach classes as a part of it. The connection field can be on it. And we can, like the global transition team and that global transition specialist training or apprenticeship or whatever we're going to call it, will be run right through that. But the exciting part about Kajabi, I'll let you give a little report, Andrea, on it, is that literally we can create those levels in the portals upon what they're donating. So if you're donating $25 a month, you get the basic Mentoring Stewards. But if you give $100, you can have access to this premium stuff and content. Not that we want to create exclusiveness, but we're going to make it be that some people are interested in other things. And then literally, Andrew's working on ways that we can trade. She's doing the volunteer survey. So we're looking at the membership, and Linda, you could work with her on that volunteer survey too. So we're seeing what are their skills and ability to do trades. So if they want that premium content. But yeah, then we can expand the connection field so it generates revenue. We can also begin to track. Once Andrea's putting some of these pieces in place, we could do the analytics. So literally we can go to grants and funders sponsorship. We could get a sponsorship of a really cool, amazing company that wants to sponsor the connection field, not something that we don't agree with, but we would vet that carefully and have a sponsor of the connection field. So there are ways that we can begin to generate revenue for the connection field itself.
Great. Do we have a timeline or anything? What are we talking?
Go ahead, Andrea.
Can I speak to that? Yes, I do have a timeline. It is a short timeline, but I really do think we can pull it together. And I'm just clearing up some letters and some timelines to present this week. There's a lot going on. So we have right now, we're in the 28-day free Kajabi trial. We're about 10 days into that. I would like to, there's a list of things that I would like to have accomplished by the 28th. So when it's time to start paying for Kajabi, we have tangible portals ready to be launched and either start building our following more through these analytics, and or start creating building more revenue. So yes, and yes, Glenn, we will have, as Julie said, different levels. You know, Good of the Whole is a nonprofit, so it's really important that we do community work that serves the community. We can't necessarily charge for everything. We're not a for-profit organization, we're a nonprofit organization. That's where the connection field does come in really handy as service to the community. And within the levels, Kajabi is going to allow us to do levels of membership. So yes, everybody's invited to be a part of the community. And there's levels of things that will cost, because guess what? We need to function and we need money to do so, and hire the capacity to really grow the Good of the Whole. one of the really exciting things about Kajabi is there's so much that we can automate. And this means not using the connection field to have the same conversations over and over again about what a mentoring steward is, what are the benefits of a mentoring steward, what is resonance. Of course, we're always going to want that personal touch because that's community needs that, but we can get so much automated that will free up so it not at first because it's going to be boots to the ground to make it happen and a lot of cooperation, but that's going to free up the connection field and go to the whole so much to start taking these conversations and turning them into action, turning them into activism, and turning them into revenue that then can go back into go to the whole in the connection field and allow our community to do more action for the good of the whole. So it's very exciting. And yes, vetting teachers, we're creating also on my agenda, which I'll have the executive leadership team look over everything I do because I want your opinion. You are this organization. You've helped create it and nurture it with your languaging. Platforms, Glenn, documents where even though we have teachers and educators from all over the world, there's coherence. There's coherence in agreements, in best practices, in expectation. And that way, no matter what our programming is, we can invite teachers in. And we know on our back end that these benchmarks are being met. So there's coherence across everything that the good of the whole offers.
Bring it on. How much is Kajabi on a monthly basis? Is that, I assume it's a monthly payment, or is it an annual that we, whatever, but what are we talking about in terms of money there?
Do you remember, Andrea? It's like $300 a
Well,
month, $299.
No, it's $200 a month. It would be $300, but if you pay in annually, it's cheaper. So I think it's runs about $200 a month.
Okay. Any
And
chance to do a nonprofit tier?
I think that is the nonprofit tier.
That's okay. Oh, so they
Yeah.
have something there.
But that is something that I will confirm. Thank you. They're really great because they give us, now that we're members, like literally 24/7 live support.
Great.
Which is really great. It wasn't the case until we got the free membership, but now I can write them and they'll write me back. I've had video conferences with them, just me and them. So I will confirm that and thank you.
Okay, so I've got this person who's interested in maybe hosting her groups on in our connection field. What should I tell her?
I personally,
go ahead, Andrew.
Can I go and then you could go, Julie? Because
what would be our funnel, our process that I want to let her know now to kind of hold her horses now for a couple of weeks?
I would say stay tuned, and because I would really like to get some of our teacher agreements up.
Great.
And ready, so we don't say, oh yes, and then have them waiting, because that's a great way to lose interest.
What teacher agreements? What are you thinking of when you say teacher agreements?
Well, we're thinking of, okay, as a good of the whole, so there's the connection field and then there's the Kajabi portal, and they will integrate, but ultimately, from my understanding with Julie, is they're comparable, like they work together, but they're not the same thing. The connection field is more about the community, the free programming. The connection field can generate interest in paid programming, but the paid programming will be good of the whole Kajabi portal. It will not necessarily, and correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, it will not necessarily be connection field. That the connection field could be a place for them to come and really generate their interest in a paid programming.
Mhm.
So I don't know offhand what that portal would be, but I can work diligently on getting those agreements. So that's as good of the whole. What do we want classes to look like? Like the teachers obviously will have their curriculum, but do we at Good of the Whole want to make sure that they have deliverable content that they can take home with them, documents that they can view? Do we want a live element? Do we want a video element? Just kind of looking at how we want classes to look like across the board. And this is why if we have somebody that takes a class with Nanashoni and then a class with somebody else, we want some level of branding consistency that they know it's an offering without even seeing our logo, that they know that it's a production of Good of the Whole. They know that it's a class that's hosted by the educational platform of Good of the Whole. And we also need agreements. So like what happened with some current situations, we know that our teachers know what what we're expecting as far as professionalism, as far as consistency, as far as best practices. So along those lines. Does that answer your question?
It gets us down the road, and I've built some faculty agreements for other organizations.
Oh, if you have them,
And
bring
If
them
you
on.
have them,
maybe I can see
pass
if I
them
can.
forward. I mean, I
You
would
make-
never copy anybody's template, but if there's templates already out there made, it creates a lot less work for me to fill in the blanks.
The other piece of that, thank you. The templates
Mhm.
would be really helpful, Glenn. The other piece is, so yes, professionalism and the kind of experience that we want to offer all of our students, because we want to be able to guarantee a quality experience for all students. So there's that level of professionalism. Then there's also the vetting for the topic. Is this about whole systems health, whole worldview? Does it fit into our mission, our vision, our purpose? If it's something like how to grow daisies in the desert, you know, we'd go, what? But if they're talking about regenerative by bringing back, and then all of a sudden how to grow daisies in the deserts makes sense. So we have to have a clear vetting on what's appropriate for us to offer. When does it feel good and right? And also lead with our best stuff first. We really got to lead with our best stuff. Then we also have to have policies and procedures, which we're working on. Andrea's working on is when do students, when is their money back guarantee? Is that 30 days? Is that 2 weeks? Is that depending on how long the course is? Do we even offer one? When do we pay our faculty members? So all the students signed up for Jose's. I paid him right away when it came in. And now we had all these students that wanted their money back, and we're not going to get any funds back for him. So we went backwards on that experiment. It was painful, and it's still not resolved. So those are the kinds of basic infrastructure that we need to move forward on the education piece. But it's coming. With Kajabi also comes Andrea's hard work and putting together the documents and the policies and the procedures and the agreements and the best practices. And look at, she has a very aggressive timeline. And just like Kajabi, I can't wait to go play in it. Just like I opened up the Trello today and put that calendar in 2 hours. Like, that's how Good of the Whole was born, is I got the URL and I got a nation builder and I built the page and it was boom, it was done. So so that's an important piece. And our webmaster guy has now can get in, and he's going to give us a price real soon on migrating that over. And so I need to keep on him. I met with him Thursday or Friday again, and he's wanting to support us. So we'll be migrating over and then integrating the Kajabi pages and this beautiful page as our calendar. What this will be is we'll have goodofthewhole.com connection field calendar as a link, and it'll just go right to this Trello calendar that's behind you guys on my screen. So
Great.
any other questions about any of that?
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot to take in. Yeah, I think I'm going to sit with this for a while. One of the things that's bouncing around in my head is about vetting, and you know, how do we set up the guidelines for that? Because from what I understand, no one knew that Jose was going to turn the corner. You know, everybody, I assume that's who we were talking about. I don't know the story. I really don't know much of anything about it, except that it wasn't a good fit and or feel. And so how do we vet? You know, how do we, because somebody can come on and seem awesome, and then over time they turn into their egos, and then their classes are all about them and promoting their business and maybe even pulling people away. Now, is that, you know, to go to their websites and their programs? Is that something we should expect? Because what we're doing is for the good of the whole, and we don't have a hold on anyone. You know, we want this whole world view to be all inclusive. So these are just some things popping around in my head, like how do we establish, you know, what's healthy for good of the whole with that whole system mission in mind. And
then we have a follow-on agreement that we sign, that specifies how things are going to be handled and our obligations and their obligations. And of course, we maintain sole authority to continue or terminate their course at any time for any reason. And those kind of things. But I think some of that languaging may be there, needs to be reworded some for this particular application, and maybe we can throw our logo on it. I mean, I wrote all that, so I mean.
Right. Thank you. That's huge, because I do have a pretty vigorous timeline. So thank you.
Yeah, so maybe that'll help get you down the road a little bit, and just rewrite it a little bit and change the numbers, or leave blanks where we find the numbers for, you know, percentages that we share and royalties or whatever we choose to pay that is. But it requires a, you know, pretty deep consideration of thinking through the unintended consequences of how we set that up.
Yeah. And I also think this keeps the executive leadership team, council, and the connection field from having to, it just keeps us all on the same page as well, where we don't have people making personal phone calls, answering questions that can be found elsewhere.
Right. We could have a piece of our website that's got interested in being a faculty or hosting a program.
And take them through the portals.
Take them through that portal. They see the application, complete the application, send it in. It goes to whoever it's supposed to go to, and then they vet that. And we, as executive team, we don't need to see very much of that. That's a sub community that operates and manages and deals in that world. So.
Thank you. And I do already have a confidentiality document that I will, like I said, these coming weeks, I'm going to be asking people like, hey, can you read over this? Sharon Harding has read over a survey. I'm going to have you all read over it too. So everybody sees it all if they choose to. So you know what's happening, and your input again is like highly honored and necessary. So thank you.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Julie, did you find the ILLI organization?
I haven't yet. No, I haven't looked, but I remember you shared that with me last year, so I'll look them up again. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Glenn.
Oh, yeah.
You're always adding from your experiences. You're helping so much.
Oh,
And
it's
thank you,
fun.
Julie, for sharing that as far as mentoring stewards, and how to, really bring them in as the community. And I have one little Excel sheet here of who pays, and I'm hoping these people are paying every month. But there's a lot of names on here, people who come in every day, and I don't see, payments from them. So I don't know how to, work with that. Is that something that we do here in the council, or is that something for Andrea and I?
This will be something that we will be transitioning over to Kajabi, and then you can get in the back end and learn how to use that. Right now in Nation Builder, I could teach you how to do that, but if we're migrating away from Nation Builder, we did get a new member this week, new mentoring steward.
Well, I should be getting that information.
So, yeah, and see, right now the system is silly because it's like I have the information in Nation Builder, and then Shelly asks me for it, so then I give it to her, and then she gives it to you. And then Shelly can get in there and look at it too, but it's typically she'll see a payment come in, and then she'll be like, are they a mentoring steward? And then she's giving it to you. So it's like, that's the system structure that Andrea's working on, is how do we streamline and make
great.
So I'm going to open that up and just give that to you right now, Linda, because I think that would be important, so you know our new people. And
also, I'd add that ILLI, that's Temple Hayes.
yeah, I remember you saying that. That's
what I was working on.
Yeah. I would like to add to that as well, Linda. I think there's going to be a little bit amount of kind of cleanup and like figuring out manually what has happened in the past. But with this Kajabi site up, we'll be able to track payments. And if people aren't paying, yes, we can call them and see what's up, but we also, they're not getting the benefits without the payment, because it's dripped in a way that they can't continue to receive the benefits of being a mentoring steward without the payment. Like it will just be set up that those are then stopped. So we don't have somebody acting like they're a mentoring steward, but actually not paying, because that's taking advantage of the organization. So that will be like easily taken care of.
So is Kajabi also an email source, or is that still Constant Contact?
Well, we can integrate our Constant Contact if we want. That's one of the things we have to we just haven't gotten there yet, but I have talked to them about that. We can integrate our Constant Contact, so we always have that. Like, say one day we decided we didn't want to use Kajabi, we have our Constant Contact. But yes, they will keep track of those emails. We can integrate, so it's on both.
I know how to do Constant Contact. I'm not familiar with Kajabi at all. But as far as it's real easy to get a list on Constant Contact. So you just, hit the list and it goes out to everybody.
Yeah.
Who is on what list, are these potential, right?
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just learned this today, which I didn't know, is that, and I don't know why I didn't know, because I've done other programs, unless it's a new policy. Constant Contact takes a fee from our people signing up for programs when we sign up through Constant Contact with a event page.
Oh.
So that's new.
Well,
so we'll go back to Kajabi, and Andrea, that's another question for Kajabi. Do they take a fee with enrollment and memberships? Are they taking a fee, or are we just paying for that platform? Because we pay
They're
for
not taking
Constant
a fee.
Contact. Double check it, because I never thought Constant Contact did. and Constant Contact's taking a fee.
Yeah.
That's just not cool. Linda, I just sent you 3 photos of people that I'm checking on to make sure that they're new, and make
The
sure that
last one I have on the list is Lynn Chittick.
that's the last one on the list. Okay, that's the last one that just
That's the
I just
newest.
sent you her. So I'll continue to go through this list just so you know it. So thank you.
In the application to become a mentoring steward, do we ask right there? I don't know if we're doing that. Do you ask right there for their short bio?
We should.
Yeah.
Or do we go back to them afterwards for the
should.
second? So they supply it at the get-go and a picture.
Yeah. And even at that, still having trouble reaching everybody. I don't have everybody's email.
See, I just gave you their email, so you should have their email because it should be.
Okay.
I can literally what
This
I'll
is an
do
Excel.
generate a report for you on Excel and send it to you.
Okay. That'd be great.
That's something that maybe you and Andrea can work on with your structure too, so that we're getting.
Mhm.
Because all
And
I'm really using is the Excel that Shelley had sent me quite a while ago. And
Which is the one that I created, and that was.
yeah. And I'm looking forward. Now I'm beginning to feel what my part is in working with the mentoring stewards and building community and communicating with them. But it feels disjointed. It's like, oh, I'm not going to type in every email. I guess we'd have to do it once, but Constant Contact, you have it in there and it's done. And I can write a letter. We can compose a letter on Mondays or whatever needs to happen so that it's easier. And like some of these people I've never seen. Marcel Little, Vijay Ramanthan.
Yeah, some of them never come to anything.
Anything.
Peter Milton became one.
And it would be nice to get them coming back or to get them coming in somehow.
I have a question. If you all have Constant Contact, why aren't these emails on there? Are they coming from a different source?
I don't have access to the Go to the Whole Constant Contact. I don't know how to get into that one.
You can totally get into it, and I can give you that. And it's because we're migrating them back and forth from Nation Builder to Constant Contact. So they come from Constant, but the report that I generated has all the emails on them. Doesn't that Excel have the emails, Linda?
Some of them has emails up to.
Oh, because we have all these people that want to be on too that aren't paying. So those people that were supposed to have trades. Shelley never worked out the trade yet.
Right.
Which
So we need to be
like
for the trade.
Pamela Duran, she's not really, as far as I can see, she's not a mentoring steward. She does everything, but
Yeah.
she's not paying. Gil, at least on this list.
Gil is paying.
See, I don't have that. So your report's going to be updated.
I'm looking at it right now, and I'll update that report for you if I can figure this out, and do it quickly. Lisa,
yeah. And then there's a big long list of people who do have showed up, or they've come and they've gone, that I'm not showing if they're making payments to Go to the Whole.
Well, this is where we might have to send out emails and get everybody up to date and find out who's doing what. And part of the survey is going to be like, are you a mentoring steward? And that way we can also collect those emails as well and find out who really is and who isn't.
Because I know we've talked about, you're grandfathered in, everyone's a mentoring steward, and we're not going to be exclusive and keep you out. But we need to start weeding out, who's really paying and focus on them as being able to take extra courses, and those who are not, to not just slip on in because they've been hanging out forever with us, which is great, but
I thought the grandfathered in was not necessarily that you didn't have to pay to be a mentoring steward, but that because I was in a meeting when Shelley said you're grandfathered in if you want to become a mentoring steward now, because that was the price went up. She's like, if you become a mentoring steward now, it's 15, but it is going up to 25. But everybody on this call is grandfathered in at 15. That's what I understood.
That's what we said, and we encouraged them to go up to 25.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a whole page that I have. I mean, I could read you their names, but we can do that. Or unless Julie, yours is updated, but
I
don't have
a new one from you. And
okay.
These are everyone, so I need to, let's X out of this one because that's even people who have canceled.
Jerry, Cassandra, Robin, La, Imani, Karen Frank, Noreen, Oriana.
See, a bunch of, and I just told Andrea this last week, is a lot of people that came in on with Brother Phil and with Jose that are following them. They aren't paying, and they, for a lot of, they just, yeah, it's.
And these people, it's like they were hanging out in the beginning and now we don't see them. So, how do we get their interest to come back? I don't know. Misha, Ken Evans, Carolyn, Gracia, the one, Caro from France. She used to be on hours and hours and hours.
Oh, yeah.
Wowza, Malini, Maria La Paz, some of these grandmothers. Martin.
Them that aren't paying right now. They're not mentoring stewards that are paying right now, Linda. That's what you have.
Yep.
Okay, I'm cleaning up this spreadsheet for you.
Okay.
When we automate this, we're going to have to create a split where we know who the paying mentoring stewards are and we know who the trade mentoring stewards are. So then we can actually utilize the trade.
Yeah, we've got to utilize the trades now.
And it might be helpful to, and what I've been trying to do is like, if I'm on the connection field and people come on, I try to get their names, friend them on Facebook so I can start communicating with them because I can't get any information from them, but they're there. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, who are
you friending them through Linda, or are you friending them through Good of the Whole?
Me.
Okay.
Me. I don't know how to do that through Good of the Whole.
I don't know. We're going to have to explore. We have a lot to talk about tomorrow, Linda. I'm excited. It'll be the first of many.
Hey, we can take those that are trading, we can put them on committees to review faculty applications, make recommendations, make one of Medina students, whatever. Put them to work.
That's why I'm putting out the survey for what their skills are.
Great.
What are your skills? What can you offer us? If you have graphic design, can we use you? We can.
I'm going to need to jump off here pretty soon. I've got to go to another activity. What else we got, Julie?
We don't have time for just begin our. I'm sorry, I'm updating this for.
Go for it. Oh yeah, good.
We don't have time to really jump into a conversation about the fundraising, but let's know that we are going to do that really, really, really soon.
Is there some?
What, Linda?
Is there something we should begin to muse over as far as a fundraiser?
That's what we're going to do together, I think.
So next Monday?
Okay, we can be a musing group.
We will be amusing. Very good, Glenn.
So there's, well, let me just, what I could do is delete. There are some people on here, Linda, that I'll talk to you about that I think we should just keep on as our, remember when we put formative stewards, like Ron and Victoria canceled their membership, but let's keep her on. Catherine and Makasha, Carolyn and Sanford, like those people.
So they're not on this list.
They're
No.
not on that list.
Not on what I have.
Like our elder list or something.
Yeah, I don't have that one. These are mentoring stewards. It starts with Sharon Hardy. And boom, has a whole list. The only one on this page is Kate.
See, there's Eliza on here. Wowza. But she's not paying.
Right. I have her at the bottom of this list where there's a whole lot of people who are.
So she paid and then she quit paying and then she's a trade. And Cassandra Martin, she pops in and out. She's hosting on the connection field, but she's not paying.
Right. Jerry, Little John, Robin, Amani, Karen Frank, Noreen, Oriana. She's doing all kinds of programs and she's not paying, Oriana?
Is Oriana paying? You know what? She told me she's not getting, this is a good question. She's like, I'm not getting any of the emails. I'm like, okay.
Joy Marie at
Let's check. She
mac.com.
might not be paying.
That's a good thing to do is go through and call that out and either turn some people off or send them some emails that say, hey, it's get on or get off, whatever.
Zoe, Martin, Diggs, Ricardo.
We need your support.
See, those are people that Shelley's added from the connection field under. That's not the list from the Nation Builder.
Right.
That's who Shelley's adding them.
Okay. So, but I don't have emails for most of them, so I don't know if they're getting the digest or, So do I work with Andrea for that or you, Julie, or Shelley? Just, so that I can start.
Work with me on that.
Okay, great.
And Oriana is paying $15 a month. So Oriana is.
Okay, great. And I've asked her many times for her bio and she keeps going, okay. She sent a picture.
Well, just publish it with that one, I guess.
We don't have people's bios. We have a lot that are missing. You'll see that on the, well, we have nobody's basically.
I sent you, I did send
You got
that.
mine.
Yeah, you know what? I have not gone to the email to put them on that calendar. So I haven't done that at all. They were just not on the website from when Jess put them there. So.
Because I was like all over everybody and they sent me their stuff and I put it in a document and it didn't go through. So the bios are one and then the pictures are another. The attachments had to be separate, I think.
Yeah, and so I gotta go back and find those.
Well, I think I'll jump off. I'll let you ladies just keep it going and don't stop on my account.
Well, I think
Glenn,
we're wrapping it up. We got 8 minutes till 5, so thank you, Glenn.
Just rock and roll,
I'm gonna ask you a big favor, Glenn.
Yes, dear.
When you find beautiful Marion, will you just give her a big hug for me?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good.
I can do that. Right on. And you can have one. I give you one back just from her. Just like,
Oh.
Thank you, Glenn, for the documents.
Yeah, just go tear those apart and make them in your own, however you want.
I will.
All
Thank you, Glenn.
Aloha.
You're awesome.
Aloha. Thank you, Glenn.
We are all awesome. We are magnificent.
We are so magnificent.
Yeah.
Good luck with your contractor.
Thanks.
Aloha. Oh, gone.
So anything else for the good of the whole, ladies? I'm attaching this new spreadsheet for you here.
I'm just going to say, I know we wanted to get to fundraising today, and just, a gentle reminder that creating a robust Mentoring Steward membership plan and really getting that in order, even though it doesn't seem like it, is a huge piece to raising money.
Yeah.
And really showing our sponsors, our future sponsors and our future funding partners how on top of it we are. So.
Everything is kind of converging, as everything is, and always, but to have some content and courses, and this is what your money can help be for the good of the whole, so the good of the whole keeps growing, so that we can really put out there this global transition understanding of how each person can, what do they say, reach one, teach one, about whole system, whole systems looking at at everything. And that's just meant so much to me. I think that's the best thing about go to the whole for me, is truly expanding that perspective so that I don't get caught up in smaller minutia things. And really, although that's important, we have to stop violence in the streets, but to look, it's so important that we look at the whole systems and how everything is interrelated. And I love it. I think it's great. Also, Julie, I wanted to talk to you about how you think the Wednesday afternoon is going, if you think that's a good time slot.
That's a good question, Linda. And like, I have no idea if other people are getting better. Do you know? Are other time slots? Seems like everybody gets on in the morning, and then it just kind of dies out throughout the afternoon. So
I'm wondering if the resonant field should be in the afternoon, because there's no content really to that, and have the things with content be more in the morning. I don't know.
yes, Andrea?
My survey addresses those questions, just letting you know.
Oh, cool.
All of them, where their time zone is, what they're tuned into, why, how, if, when, what.
I had a few people say, Linda, that I watch it on Facebook Live, but they're not coming into the Zoom room. And could you add a specific question for us on there? And, what would we ask, Linda?
Like how specifically for the healing field?
Yeah.
It kind of would go generally for everything in the connection field. Are you more comfortable watching it on Facebook or coming into a Zoom room? Because there's a lot of times I'll watch something on Facebook because I just don't feel like sitting in a Zoom room. Maybe I just don't feel like speaking or contributing at that moment, but I'm still watching and
I think that's a good question to ask. Do you enjoy it on Facebook Live or the Zoom room, or
where you participate?
Yeah, where do you most participate?
Yeah.
So,
but something's also going on with Facebook. I could not get the heart resonance call on Facebook Live. It wouldn't go through.
Well, part of it is, and we have to be careful and cautious. Part of it is that John is